Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Little Marketing Podcast, where we provide you, Australian small business owners, with smart and tangible marketing advice for your small business. Now, the one common question that we get asked from conversations with small business owners is, what activities are gonna help me to make money? Now, I understand why this answer is so common, and ultimately it's about wanting to get quick results for their small business owners and to make money. And of course, that is a natural reaction and a natural question. Now, I think that the importance around that question isn't about what the activities are, but more around your circumstances. So in today's episode, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk through 5 particular marketing activities that you can relate to, and then you can decide based on the podcast today and based on your individual circumstances whether you think these activities apply to you and whether they are relevant or not. So we're going to talk about the pros and cons of particular activities, why they're important, what's the goal of these activities, so that then you can start to make decisions around whether you think they are useful for you or not. So if we think about why there isn't a straightforward answer to what activities can work best for me, it would be like a patient going in to see a physio, telling the physio that their leg hurts, and then expecting the physio to know straight away what rehab they should be doing, what exercises they should be doing. Versus a physio would ask, okay, so what part of your leg is hurting? What were you doing that caused that incident or that pain? Tell me more about your routine in terms of sport or whatever activities that you do, and what outcomes do you want when we rehabilitate you and fix you up. So it's understanding the client, their personal circumstances, and that's why when people ask what activities are going to work best for them, we want to understand more about their business, their audience, their finances, their end goals, and more about the industry that they're in. So hopefully today I can share some pros and cons and information about 5 particular market activities to get you thinking about whether they are relevant or not for your small business. Now, before we get into these activities, the one thing that is so important is that you have created what we call a positioning in the minds of your customers that is different to the competition. If you haven't listened to any of our other videos or podcasts or read our book, then I suggest that you really go and do that, because if you don't have a positioning in the minds of your customers that is different to the competition, regardless of whatever activities you do, they are all going to be a waste of your time, money, energy, and skills. So please go and create a positioning before you execute any of your activities. Okay, so the first activity that we're going to talk about is search engine optimization. So what does that actually mean? So if you go to Google and you type in, let's for example, type in gardener in Ramsgate, and when you go to Google and you type that keyword in, the initial results that would appear at the top of the page would have a little heading that would say like sponsored or ads. So that's what we call Google ads, and that's going to be one of the activities that we talk about today. But under those results are what we call organic rankings. So those organic rankings appear at the top of Google because there's been search engine optimization done to those websites. So search engine, so Google is a search engine, and people have optimized their website to appear nice and high. Now, obviously, that's the holy grail for small business owners. The question is, how have they got there? So there are a multitude of reasons and answers why they got there, but I'll outline a summary of some of them. So firstly, based on the business, within the back end of the website and within the code of the website, there are certain keywords that have been used on the back end of the site that relate to what the offering is. So for example, the term gardener in Ramsgate, that type of keyword or phrase has been used in the back end and the code of the website, or similar phrases. So they wouldn't have just used that phrase, but they would have used a multitude of similar phrases throughout the back end code of the website. So that's one way to get your rankings up nice and high. The second is within the content of the actual website, so the words that appear on the website. So you want to make sure that words or phrases that are relevant to what your audience will be typing in to use those. Now, I know what you're thinking, oh, let me try and cheat the system and just hide some of those words and put them in white. Google knows all the tricks of the trade, so be authentic around the content that you're putting within your website. Don't try to trick the system. Google is smarter than you, I can guarantee it. The third way is to write regular content on your website. So previously, when we used to do a lot of search engine optimization for our clients, some clients we would write kind of 3 content articles every week of around 500 words. Now that's a lot of content every week. I would recommend that you do it as often as possible. It just depends on how hungry and how high you want your rankings to be. So if you can write all day long, then do it. Google loves regular content. It likes to see activity within your site, and then when it crawls your website, the more regular content you have on your site, the higher your rankings are going to be. So that's 3 kind of key ways to get your website appearing high on rankings. The 4th way is also having your website on other people's websites, so links from their website to yours and vice versa. That helps also with your rankings too. So let's talk about the investment that it takes to get there. So technically, you can do this with little to no investment in money. So how do you do that? So if you're building your own website, then a lot of the platforms out there allow you to put the some of those key phrases within the code of the site without you having to know anything about coding. So that's one advantage. So you can do that on your own. Secondly, the content on the website. If you're writing the content, then of course you're not paying for that. So that's another free way. The content articles that we spoke about. So you can write those content articles, especially with things like ChatGPT now. You're able to do that at, again, no cost of money to yourself. The main cost is your time, energy, and skills. So it's just, again, how committed and willing you are to get those results and those rankings nice and high. Now let's talk about the results of that work that you're actually doing. So the thing about search engine optimization is that 15 years ago, when we used to do some of this work for our clients, we would start to see rankings appear on the homepage of Google for some of those keywords within a couple of months. Now, because there are so many more websites online, the competition is obviously greater. So we've seen that it takes a whole lot longer to get your ranking up nice and high. So again, depending on your circumstances, so if you want a quick win with getting people to your website, then search engine optimization isn't the way to go. But if you want to build a long-term sustainable business, which is what you should be doing, then SEO is a good path to take. Just don't expect immediate results from the activity that you're doing. And that's one of the reasons why people ask what activity is going to work best for me, is because they want quick and immediate results. That's not how long-term sustainable, successful, valuable businesses are built. They're not built on quick wins, they're built on long-term success. And the final thing to consider about search engine optimization is that if you're doing all this work to get people to your website, you want your website to be fantastic. You don't want all the work or the time, energy, and skills that you've put into the SEO to fail because people ultimately come to your website, you have a shit website, and then they walk away. That is a waste, and you want to make sure that you have a great website so that when people come to the website, it's relevant to them, it meets their expectations, it's a needs match of what they're after, and they decide to make an inquiry. So that's a bit of a summary about search engine optimization. So let's talk about search engine optimization's main competitor for me, which is Google AdWords. So what is Google AdWords? I touched on this in the SEO explanation, but basically let's go back to the gardener in Ramsgate. We type in gardener in Ramsgate into Google, and the first results that will appear at the top of the page more than often are what we call Google AdWords results. So we'll say the word ad or Google Ads or sponsored at the top of those results. So what does that mean? That means that businesses, so some type of gardener in Ramsgate, has created a Google Ads campaign to appear at the top of Google if people have typed in those particular phrases. So do they pay to be at the top? No, they don't necessarily pay to be at the top. They only pay when somebody clicks on the ad. Now, for every industry and every business, what the business pays when someone clicks on the ad is very different. Some industries are more competitive than others. For example, the accounting industry is super competitive. You could be paying anywhere from $40 every time someone clicks on the ad. Whereas we have other clients who do Google Ads campaigns and it's, say, $1 every time someone clicks on the ad. So that it all depends on how competitive your industry is and how many people are looking for that particular phrase. So a few factors as to why and how much those cost per clicks will be for your business. So you create the campaign, you decide on what keywords you want to appear at the top for, you create the headlines that appear in those ads, you create the descriptions in those ads. So all the content that appears on those Google ads is all created by you, the user. So in terms of the investment, setting it all up actually is no investment to you, but the investment is when someone clicks on the ad. The great thing about Google Ads is that you can get immediate inquiries. So if you launched the Google AdWords campaign today, technically you could get people clicking on those ads tomorrow and coming to your website tomorrow and inquiring tomorrow. So it's immediate versus the SEO activity that we spoke about earlier. It's a longer term investment. So if you want some quick wins, sure, Google AdWords is the way to go. It's just going to initially, the investment is obviously higher because you're paying every time someone clicks on the ad. Now, like SEO, the key to this is to make sure that your website is fantastic. So if someone clicks on the ad, you pay for it, they come to your website, and again, it's a shit website and they leave. What a waste of time to create the campaign and what a waste of money because they've clicked on the ad, you've paid for it, they've come to your website and they've left. So you want to make sure again that your website is a needs match. It matches what it is that they've typed in to find you, and you have then a better chance of them inquiring with you. So that's the summary of Google Ads. So to compare SEO and Google Ads, SEO can be done on minimal investment, but just a longer term outcome. Google AdWords, higher investment and quicker outcome. So it just depends again, and that's why I use the physio example. What outcomes do you want? What does your business look like? What are your circumstances? What is your audience? What is your finances? All these things you need to weigh up. Ideally, in the ideal world, it'd be great for you to be doing both so that both are working for you at the same time. All right, the next activity. Let's talk about EDMs or emails that you send out as bulk to your audience. So what is the purpose of this? So there's a couple of reasons why you would do this. One is absolutely to stay top of mind. Secondly, it's to actually create revenue and orders from the product or service that you're offering. Now, if you are in a product-related business, chances are you want to drive kind of product or sales through your website. Whereas if you're a service business, you want to do the same, but it's about also being top of mind. So top of mind is key. Now, your audience may not need you today, tomorrow, or next week, but when the time comes, if they've seen your emails on a regular basis, then you have a higher chance of them finding you over the competition. We were talking to a client last week and they were saying, oh, how regular or irregular should we be doing this? We don't want to be one of those spam companies. And I said to them, I completely understand what you are saying. I'm sure we all subscribe to businesses who bombard us with their emails. But at the end of the day, if they have been top of mind, I might not need them, as I mentioned, today, tomorrow, next week. But if they've been top of mind, and when the day comes where I need their product or service offering, and I've seen them, even if they've been annoying, if I've seen them more regularly than the competition who maybe do it ad hoc and do it randomly, and I don't remember them because they're not top of mind, then this business has a higher chance of me choosing them over the ad hoc guys that don't have a position in my mind. The other advantage about EDMs is that you start to position yourself as an expert, and people start to know, if you do it regularly enough, people start to know what is that you do, why you're different, who you do it for, and where you do it, and why you're the expert in that field. And again, it's about positioning you in the minds of your customers that is different and positions you as an expert in your field. So what does the investment look like? Again, time, energy, and skills to set up and create your email campaigns. There may be an investment depending on how big your email marketing list. Some of the platforms will charge you based on the number of emails that you're uploading to the database. But pretty much it's an inexpensive exercise. It's more about the time, energy, and skills to put in to creating the content, to sending it out, and doing that on a regular and a sustainable basis, and that's the key. Doing one every 3 months is pretty much a waste of time. Now let's talk social media. So I hear lots of product-based businesses use social media to drive direct sales to the website, and that's great. In terms of the product side of things, absolutely, social media can help drive sales, absolutely. But for me, the key thing is that you are, like the EDMs, that you are top of mind and you are positioning your business and your brand in the minds of your customers that is different to the competition, and that you are staying top of mind with that communication. If people see you on a regular basis on whatever platforms you use, whether it's Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, it doesn't really matter as long as you are staying top of mind and that communication is regular. So like the EDMs, if you're doing it more than your competition and you're reinforcing that positioning, we spoke at the very beginning about why positioning is so important in all of your communication. If you're doing that on a regular basis and you're being consistent in that, then you have a high chance of people seeing you and selecting you over the competition who do it in an ad hoc and irregular and inconsistent basis. Now, your content is going to evolve over time. What people like, what they dislike, the type of videos, the type of images, the type of words that you use, all that will evolve over time. The key is just to start. It's never going to be perfect. Even when you finally finish your business, you still won't be happy and it still won't be perfect. But it's about getting a start and being regular and being top of mind with your audience so they know what it is that you do, where you do it, who you help, and whether you can help them or not. Now, all that's pretty straightforward in terms of the social media bit, but the key about that is the consistency. So we talk about 4 key areas that make marketing great for your small business. 1, it's making sure that that positioning is in place. 2, never wavering from that. And 3, and this is the key bit for social media, is being consistent in the frequency of that activity. If you are not doing it frequently, that's the bit that people fall over. Social media is easy and it's easy to do a post, but doing it consistently, I reckon there's probably like 1 or 2% of businesses that are doing it consistently and frequently and as part of a plan. So that's where people fall over. It's easy to just do one, it's harder to do it over and over again. And the 5th activity that we want to address today is a website. So a few of the activities that we spoke about, I spoke about the fact that if you are investing time, money, energy, and skills in those activities, it's critical that if you're sending people from those activities back to your website, that your website needs to be doing its job. So 1, does it work? 2, is the customer experience that people are finding on their website easy? Is the user experience easy? When they get there, are they finding relevant information based on the information that has taken them there? So if you sent them there via an EDM that you've done, was the message that you put in the EDM the same message that they're going to see when they get to your website? Is the message or the keyword that they've typed into your Google Ads campaign to get to your website the same message, and does it resonate with them? And is it what we call a needs match? So the need that they have, are you matching that need and making them feel comfortable and trusting you that they want to inquire or buy from you? So the website is critical. The investment in the time, money, energy, and skills in your website is so critical to make sure that the time, money, and investment for all the activities getting you to the website are being fulfilled, and you're getting the return on investment on those activities and the return on investment on your website as well, to ultimately drive revenue, drive inquiries, and drive profit for your small business. So I've spoken about 5 activities today. SEO works, AdWords works, EDMs, social media, and website. They're kind of 5 really common activities that we see small businesses do and that we help our clients with. Again, it's about making sure that you are meeting those 4 criteria to make your marketing great. I think I might have skipped on the 4th point before. So positioning, number 1. 2, never waver from that. 3, do it consistently. And 4, do it more than your competition. And that's the key for all of those activities. Remember, every activity will depend on your circumstance, on your audience, on your finances, where you are in your business, what your long-term objectives are. So take all those things into consideration. There isn't a one-size-fits-all for small businesses. It's about making sure that you stay true to your positioning, drive that credibility, build that trust, and drive revenue and profit for your small business. So I hope you got lots out of today. We'd love a rating review across wherever you are listening or watching today, and we'll see you back next week.
Please note that all the information provided on this podcast is general in nature and is not intended to be specific advice to your individual situation. Please be sure to engage a professional for a customized approach to your business and personal circumstances.